Have you ever encountered an error message that just leaves you scratching your head? If you've seen the message, too few parameters, the query defines 1 parameters, but you only bound 0, you're not alone. Today, we're going to unravel this symphony error together. I completely understand how frustrating it can be when you're trying to get your code to work, only to be met with errors that seem to make no sense. This is a common issue many developers face, especially when working with Doctrine and Symfony. Let's dive into the specific question at hand. One user recently asked, "Why am I getting the error about too few parameters in my Symfony query?" They shared their code and mentioned that they were using the setParameter function correctly, according to the Doctrine documentation. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So what could be causing this error? It often happens when the parameters you are trying to bind in your query do not match the placeholders defined in your DQL. We'll break down the code step by step to identify the issue. And stay tuned. At the end of this video, I will share a crucial tip that could save you from similar errors in the future. To address the error message, the user should first check the query builder setup. The issue arises when the parameters are not correctly bound to the query. Let's start by ensuring that the parameters are set correctly in the query builder. Next, the user should verify that the parameters are being passed correctly to the function. The function should receive both the user ID and fleet ID as arguments. This is crucial for the query to work as intended. Now let's look at the query itself. The user should ensure that the query is structured correctly. The user can try simplifying the query to isolate the issue. For example, they can start by testing the first part of the query without the second. If the issue persists, the user can try hard-coding the parameters temporarily to see if the query executes successfully. This can help identify if the problem lies with parameter binding. Finally, if everything seems correct but the error still occurs, the user should check for any potential issues in the database schema or relationships. Ensuring that the relationships are properly defined can prevent such errors. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the first computer bug was actually a moth? It was found in a Harvard Mark II computer in 1947. Just like that bug, sometimes our code can get a little buggy too. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. One user found that the issue stemmed from using both setParameter and setParameters in the same query. They discovered that calling setParameters after setParameter would overwrite the previously set parameter values. To resolve this, they suggest using setParameter for each individual parameter instead of using set parameters. Let's move forward and look at another answer. An alternative solution proposed by another user is to use the setParameters method instead of setParameter. This allows you to bind multiple parameters at once, which can help resolve the error you're encountering. Now, let's see a response from a different user. An alternative solution suggests that the Doctrine expression not in should accept an array of values instead of a query. The user emphasizes the importance of binding parameters using setParameter to prevent SQL injection. They recommend modifying the code to first retrieve the ship IDs as an array and then use that array in the not in expression. That's the end of that answer. Let's see another perspective. An alternative solution provided by another user suggests adding single quotes around the parameter values. This means changing the setParameter function to use 1 instead of just 1. Here's a pro tip. Always double-check your parameter bindings and ensure they match the placeholders in your query. This simple habit can prevent a lot of headaches down the road. And there you have it. By understanding how to properly bind parameters in your Symfony queries, you can avoid the frustrating error about too few parameters. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more troubleshooting tips and tricks.